can't, Manny. Everybody, you look at that fight and you say, come on. It's an easy fight for Spence. That's what people said when Manny fought De La Hoya. Don't count Pacquiao out. He has something special about him.
You know Manny very well. What's the smallest thing that you think is gonna trouble Spence in the ring? Like, what's anything stand out? Like,
Yeah, because of the way that Pacquiao moves. Remember the De La Hoya fight when he was in with a slower guy like De La Hoya, who knew how to fight. He went, he attacked from the left side. By the time De La Hoya responded, Pacquiao was on the other side. He's a very, very difficult fighter to fight. Now, if he starts standing in there and slugging it out with Spence, who's much bigger, then he has problems. But if he keeps moving and pecks away at Spence, he'll win the fight.
Manny hasn't faced a southpaw in a very long time. Do you think that will come into play at all?
Nah, it doesn't matter for Pacquiao. His style, it doesn't matter.
How was the meeting Friday with Team Crawford?
You have Instagram?
Good. Everything was good. Everything we have a plan.
October?
What?
October?
Well, I don't know exactly. I mean, there are dates, there's football, we have to clear dates with ESPN, with the pay-per-view business. I mean, but again, whether it's October or November, early November, we'll see.
Bob, going back to Manny, if he does and is able to beat Errol Spence, what do you think that does for his legacy and how it adds on to it?
Well, it helps him become president of the Philippines. That's more important than a legacy. Right? We never had a president of a country who was a great fighter like Manny Pacquiao.
Is that the next move you feel for him?
Definitely.
If he does get a win?
I know for a fact.
So this is going to be his last fight?
Well, I don't know. Wouldn't
That'd be crazy.
Can you imagine the excitement if the president of the Philippines, Manny Pacquiao,
Oh my God.
right, comes to Vegas to fight Crawford or somebody? People will go crazy. When have you ever had the president of a country, right, fighting at the top level?
If you were the odds maker for Spence Pacquiao, what would it be?
I'm not an odds maker.
With that,
And remember, odds don't necessarily mean ability. Odds are what the public thinks and what the public bets. That's what people make the mistake. If a fight is 10-1, and people say, well, it's an outside fight. No, that means that most people think that fighter A is better, and so they bet fighter A, and the odds go to 10-1. But if somebody comes and makes a big bet on fighter B, then the odds go down. Has nothing to do with innate ability.
Any advice on Spence on how to approach him during the press conference? Any advice to Spence on how to approach Pacquiao during the press conference? I know a few fighters have gotten out of line and they paid for it. Any advice on Spence on how to?
No, Spence won't get out of line. I mean, he has no history of being that kind of person.
here's the key question, Bob. Did Errol look 100% to you in that last fight with Dan?
Well, he didn't look as good as he did before. But that, again, time has now passed, and maybe it was just a question of time in order for him to get back his full abilities.
You mentioned don't be surprised if Manny wins, but do you feel that Manny will win?
Well, Spence got to be a big favorite. But I'm saying, don't count Manny Pacquiao out.